He was an amazing little boy. He lit up the room. He would engage everyone he met. He was fun. He had a love of life, and he was determined to do what he wanted to do. He was a very strong-willed little boy.
He would just always find the good side in life, and I think that brought a lot of happiness to us and the people around him, especially his sisters.
Noah was the age of 2, not meeting his developmental milestones. We obviously were more concerned as well when he got to the age of 3. We asked for further investigations. They sent him for an MRI scan to check for the reason why he was struggling with his walking and his balance, which then in February 2019 discovered a brainstem tumour. So obviously very quickly we were suddenly thrown into a world of hospitals and diagnosis and not knowing what was going to happen next. When we went to Great Ormond Street, they told us that it was a DIPG tumour, which meant that he had 9 to 12 months to live if we were lucky, and there was no treatment. We knew quite soon that we needed the support of the hospice, but we weren't really sure what that would mean. Noah was really well in himself, and it was really difficult to believe what the prognosis that we were facing. And when we came here, it was wonderful. To be reminded of why we were here was almost really difficult, wasn't it? Ella was still a 4-year-old, well 3 then, with her own needs. She didn't have an understanding of what was happening. She knew her brother was poorly, we had told her that, but then he had an operation on his head and she felt that he was going to get better. So children are children, aren't they? They just get on with things.
It's really hard to get a place that suits looking after Noah, especially if he was more sleepy and he needed medication and stuff like that. And then for Ella, who is a normal child that just wants to run around and play and have fun, and coming here, as soon as we came here and saw the gardens and everything, it was just like, yeah, it was a great place for both of them. Ella could run and enjoy herself.
I just remember Noah being in the ball pit with Noah and playing hide and seek and jumping out, and Ella just standing on the edge and throwing herself in. We just had so much fun. It was just a really fun, special place to be. As we headed into January in 2020, obviously things started to change. We noticed a few differences in him, very subtle, but we noticed and we knew what was happening. The hospice adapted to his needs as well. So I remember once he was really quite tired. He wanted to play, but he couldn't physically play for too long. So they just set him up a little camp, a little bed with his iPad and the toys out in the play area, because Noah knew that he wanted to be near the toys, but he wouldn't necessarily be able to play for too long. And we just felt that they adapted to his needs and our needs. We obviously were taking on the role of paediatric nurses very quickly, without any training. So we were sort of expected to be giving these medications, like 15 or so throughout the day at different times and different amounts. And it was so overwhelming. But there were times when we just said, can we just go to Little Havens? This is just too unmanageable. His pain was kind of up and down all the time. His symptoms were up and down. So we came here and we just handed all of that over. And they were fantastic, despite COVID, despite lockdown, that they were still available to us for that.
A lot of the doors shut, and this was one of the few doors that always stayed open.
I felt really anxious and overwhelmed by how to support Ella, and not knowing how on earth we explain this to her. What do we say to her? How is she going to respond? How is she going to be? How is she going to feel? The Little Havens counsellor, I was constantly speaking to her, whether it be face to face when I was here and asking her advice, or ringing her up and saying, I don't know how to explain this to Ella. And I still now would phone her and say, I don't know how to explain this, what do I say about this? And that really has made a huge difference. Without that, I don't know, I wouldn't have coped the way that I have.
Oh, I can't believe it's true. I get to love you. It's the best thing that I'll ever do. I get to love you. It's a promise I'm making to you. Whatever may come, your heart I will choose. Forever I'm yours, forever I do. I get to love you. I get to love you.
It feels like a second home. You don't feel, you just feel at ease, you feel supported, you feel the staff are friendly, you just feel like you've got everything you would need. The only thing that you don't want to be here for is because your child's ill.
But what makes it sad about coming back here is, and emotional as you drive down the driveway, is knowing how much fun Noah and Ella had together. And that's, I think it brings back all those happy memories. If people didn't donate before, then we wouldn't have had that experience that we've had, all the memories that we've had, and you can't put a price on that. So yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Just thank you.
Yeah.
There's no other words, are there, really? It's hard to put it into words, but thank you to everyone that does that supports the charities and makes such a difference to our little boy as well.
It's a promise I'm making to you. Whatever may come, your heart I will choose. Forever I'm yours, forever I do.
Every pound we get, we split halfway, don't we? Halfway between Little Havens and halfway between Abby's Army. And we really hope that by doing that we're affecting, with Noah as a legacy, we're affecting other families through Little Havens and hopefully for research as well.
I get to love you.
Thank you.
We just want to thank everyone that supports Little Havens. It really does make a difference and it makes every day count for so many families. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Remember this moment with